It is NBA Draft Day, Bulls Nation. And y'all know we got to talk about our Chicago Bulls. Hey, what must the Chicago Bulls do tonight to nail the NBA draft? And what must they avoid in order to not have us losing our minds? There's a number of things we're going to talk about and break down, but y'all already know you got to hear the music first.
Cognac gang.
Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on NBA Draft Day for your Chicago Bulls. So if y'all tuned in with me today, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, y'all already know it's been a number of things going on right now in the NBA world. We've seen a number of trades. We've seen a number of re-signings, but we got to focus on our Chicago Bulls, who need to get the hell out of mediocrity. Can we all say it together one more time? We need to get the hell out of mediocrity. Let's just call it how we see it. With a number of teams making moves, hey, they look like they trying to set themselves up for some success and not get out of mediocrity. And we still kind of like in the middle playing both sides. But with the NBA draft tonight, the Chicago Bulls, they got to take care of business right now as it currently stands at the time of this recording. The Chicago Bulls are still locked in at 12. With a number of prospects that we've broken down over here on Shy Bulls podcast, we looked into the Igor Demons, we looked at the Noah Essengues, we looked at Derek Queen, Thomas Sorber, Cedric Howard, Drake Powell, a number of different players, talked about a lot of different things. And now it is time for the Chicago Bulls to simply just make a damn decision, and hopefully it's the right decision. But there's a number of things that I believe that the Chicago Bulls can go out there to make sure that they nail this draft. And there's some things I feel like they should absolutely avoid. Now, when it comes to trying to nail the draft, look, I'm looking at it very, very simple in a number of ways. My number one thing is don't reach, bro. A lot of teams look at the Chicago Bulls, at least in my opinion, like they got a bunch of buffoons up there in the front office. Don't get finessed out of mortgage and don't get finessed and go out there and mortgage your future if you are the Chicago Bulls. There are some rumblings, there are some sayings to where the Chicago Bulls feel like that they can absolutely trade up for a player like Ace Bailey. If you trade up for Ace Bailey, do not get finessed. That's all I ask. If you want to go out there and you want to say, yes, let's go get Ace Bailey, a guy that was projected to be top 3 in this draft, and he somehow slips and falls further down the draft, and you want to make a move up for Ace Bailey, do not get finessed. I understand that you know what I'm saying, you're going to have to give us some things to eventually move up to that team's current spot, but do not get finessed. I'm going to say it one more time. Do not get finessed. Now, how do you nail this draft? Let's just say, for the sake of discussion, at 12, you can absolutely just sit there and let's just say that you got a number of players to choose from. You got your Thomas Sorber, you got your Derek Queen, Noah Essengues potentially slides to you. You go out there, you make the best decision on a player that could be a difference maker by just completely just standing pat, standing firm at 12, and selecting a player that can come in and be a difference maker. But do not go out there and reach for somebody that has not been mentioned with the Chicago Bulls. Do not go out there and pick somebody and do similar things what you did a few years ago with Dalen Terry, to where we was like, oh snap, Walker Kessler is right there for the taking. Go ahead and get Walker Kessler. And then when the pick came through and they read the Chicago Bulls select Dalen Terry, everybody and their mama was like, what? Who is Dalen Terry? At least for me. I can't speak for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? At least for me, I'm like, who? What? over Walker Kessler, who was right there for the taking. Crazy work. Do not do that. But if you can go out there and get somebody that makes sense, even if everybody does not like the said prospect, we can all basically agree that Derek Queen, Noah Esingwe, Thomas Sorber, Cedric Coward, those are names we heard, and those are players that we've seen. But if you go somewhere way right or way left, we gonna be like, what the hell is this? What the hell? Exactly. So don't absolutely do it. Now, another way that you can absolutely go out here and nail this draft is just simply have an option to trade back. Have an option to trade back. Let's say, for the sake of discussion, that Cedric Howard is off the board. Let's say that you're not feeling so strong about my man's Derek Queen right now. Let's say that Thomas Sorber is selected. You know what I'm saying? Let's say that some of the guys, maybe a CMB is not presently on the board. Do you have an option to trade back? And you looking at teams like the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, my goodness, do they have a bevy of picks, bro? The Brooklyn Nets have a bevy of picks. I believe they got 5 first-round picks, which is crazy work, and they absolutely do. They have the 8th pick, the 19th pick, the 22nd pick, the 26th, and the 27th. Hey, Brooklyn. Now, I'm just saying, can we get 19, 26, and 27? Hey, at that back end, that's when you can get your guys like a Danny Wolf potentially. And then you can add on another player, maybe like a Drake Powell at 19. And then go and snatch up one more player before you get to 45. That's a good move. I'm not saying that is absolutely going to happen. It's just a scenario that if the Chicago Bulls guy that they have ranked high on their list, whoever that may be, because we're hearing a lot of different stuff, and we heard that my man's KC Johnson is saying that he keeps hearing CMB and is now hearing Noah Esingwe, and then you're getting the other kid from overseas, Behringer. If one of those 2 guys or 3 guys are not available for you, or you feel like you can move back and still get one of your guys, but potentially in Behringer, who seems like he's starting to move up, you could potentially execute a trade back to get you more young talent. Me personally, I'm looking more at trading back as the more favorable option. For me, if you ask me, I would rather trade back and gain than trade up and lose more assets and capital and stuff like that. So you have to strategically do something, but in either situation, do not get finessed. If you get finessed, it's just going to justify everything we keep saying about this front office. It's a bunch of buffoons up there. We trying to right the ship and get on board with AK, because when AK and my man's Mark Eversley first hit the scene, we liked some of the things that they did. We liked you going out and going to get Nikola Vucevic mid-season, and then the following offseason, you go and get your DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, and Alonzo Ball. We liked you at that point. Where it all started to get wrong is then Lonzo Ball gets hurt, you do nothing. DeMar DeRozan has extreme value, you do nothing. Lonzo Ball just recently had value, you did nothing. Nikola Vucevic back then had value, you did nothing. Andre Drummond, who was formerly on the team, had value, you did nothing. So we know that you hit a stake because you already re-upped on the deal. So do something that makes sense for once. Earn your damn spot. Earn your keep. Come on, bruh. Earn your keep. So you nail the draft by making smart decisions, essentially. You're not going to get good praise and kudos if you just squander everything or if you just screw everything up. If you trade up, make sure you're not getting finessed in a deal. Make sure the deal makes sense and make sure it's kind of like on par with some of the things going on in the NBA trade market right now. Guys, off topic, it is crazy right now. The craziest trade we've seen so far is Desmond Bane. That's the highest amount of picks right now that has been pushed out for a player. Everybody else, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Anthony Simons, and those things, they going around for just players and minimal picks. Crazy work. So if the Chicago Bulls get finessed out of something, We just gonna look right back at the top, right? We just gonna look right back at the top. And then let's address some of the draft rumors. Bradley Beal, please don't take that on. If you're the Chicago Bulls, please don't take on anything that got the hat that start with Brad and end with Bill. I'm sorry. There's nothing you can get out of that. There's nothing you can get out of that that goes against your plan 100%. I'm not saying Bradley Beal is the worst player, but he ain't worth $53 million right now. And then if you get tired of him, if you get tired of him, you're stuck with him. Yeah. And in the Phoenix Suns, we'll take Bradley Beal in the 10 pick and some more picks, but they ain't giving us that. If y'all want to do a salary dump, you got to give me something that makes sense for me. But then it still doesn't make sense for the roster construction of my team, because if my goal is to keep Kobe White around, why the hell would I go get a Brad Beal? Huh? It don't make sense. So let's get that out the way. And then my man's Jonathan Kuminga, those type of rumors. That's something that can still be going on right now. Hey, again, later today, they could potentially be moving and trying to finagle their way into a Jonathan Kuminga sign and trade. If that could be executed with, with some additional draft capital coming into play from the Golden State Warriors, explore the option. But again, it has to come with smart decisions moving forward from this Bulls front office. You got some decent pieces to work with, but now you still have to maneuver, and you cannot sit here and rest on your laurels. Guys is sitting, teams are making moves. Like, I'm not even like, teams are making moves. Jordan Poole has gone to New Orleans. Then you got my man's CJ McCollum going to Washington. Now they got them some nice veterans over there. They're going to be able to mix those veterans with some young players. And then my man's Chris Middleton is a champion who's already there. And they're going to be able to mix that team in. And guess what, Bulls? Hey, y'all, it's going to sound funny and petty at the same time. The Bulls got play-in competition. The Bulls got play-in competition. The Bulls got play-in competition, at least for right now. I'm just saying, the Bulls got play-in competition. You feel me? It's crazy. We trying to get up out of there because it's seeming like the East is going to be wide open. There's going to be some new playoff teams in the East, but will it be the Chicago Bulls? That's not a question I'm asking for an answer for right now, but how do you get to that to ensure that you give yourself the best opportunity to go and compete in the Eastern Conference this upcoming season with guys going down in Milwaukee, Indiana, and then my man's Hallie? Come on, y'all. You got to be smart and strategic about how you approach this draft. That's just what it comes down to. You have to be smart and strategic about how you approach this draft, simply because, hey, you got to push this thing forward. We've been stuck in the mud for 3 damn years with this play-in stuff. We trying to see some play-off football, basketball. I said football. You know what I'm saying? But I think that tonight, if I'm banking on anybody and not going with what I believe the Chicago Bulls stand pat, and I believe the Chicago Bulls select. Ooh, I want to say Noah Esseguay. I don't know why that's on my mind. I don't know why that's telling me to say it, but that's what I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bulls. It's not about what I want. It's just my guess on what the Chicago Bulls or who the Chicago Bulls will select tonight. If my guess is the Chicago Bulls will select Noah Esseguay, and then I think that they stand pat at 12 and potentially try to make their way back into the back half of the draft to probably get a Danny Wolf or a Drake Powell if he's available, or somebody like that. I will say that Cedric Coward could be on high on their list, but I still think the same thing applies. I still think that the Chicago Bulls stay at 12 and then they try to make their way back in on the back end of the first round. So we'll see what happens with that, especially if one of their guys are there. They worked out Danny Wolf. You already know Cedric Coward has been linked to them already. So if you ask me what I think is going to transpire, that's it. I think that it's either Noah Esseguay or Cedric Coward with the 12th pick. and then the Chicago Bulls try to make their way back into the first round and select a center. That's how I'm gonna go with that. You let me know what you think the draft plan is for the Chicago Bulls, because that is it for me today. Let me know your thoughts and everything down below on today's topic. How can the Chicago Bulls nail the draft, and what must they avoid? Let me know your thoughts and everything down below. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in into another episode. And y'all already know it is going to be a night to remember, because this is going to be another sticking point for the regime of AK and Mark Eversley. But thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode, man. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts below. But yeah, appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all always see red, and y'all already know. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.